without further ado, let me invite on stage a gentleman who, as we were talking about Benin Industrial Park or Benin Industrial Zone on Cashew, as far as this development is concerned, we've got a gentleman in the house who's on the board of the development of Benin Industrial Zone. Mr. Jasveer Singh is the head of West Africa Operations ECOWAS region at Arise IIP Africa, a focused company credited with development of successful industrial zones in Gabon, Benin and Togo, backed by Africa Finance Corporation. Arise is developing industrial zones also in Rwanda, Republic of Congo, Ivory Coast, Chad, Ghana, Guinea-Bissau and Senegal. And ladies and gentlemen, as we start with Mr. Jasveer Singh's presentation, I would urge everyone to please be with us in the hall, because right after this presentation, we have a group photo opportunity coming up for our Benin delegation and followed by our Cambodia delegation. Please be here with us in the hall. Let's hear it from Mr. Jasveer Singh. Let's make some noise, everyone.
Habibi, welcome to Dubai. Warm welcome to Dubai, everyone. Okay, thank you. So, can I have the video before this?
Africa. A continent thriving with opportunities. 70% of the world's cocoa, 53% of the world's cashew. The resource-rich continent is at a turning point. By 2030, Africa will be home to 20% of the world's population and 75% of people aged under 35. Yet, across the continent, some dynamics persist. The continent continues to export raw natural resources at low cost. Meanwhile, the resilience of its economies is tested by unemployment, poverty, and a global pandemic. Despite the challenges, together we can unlock this potential. At Arise IIP, our vision is to build an African industry. Our ambition is to shift Africa from a global commodity supplier to a global manufacturing powerhouse. We do this by identifying industrial gaps in African countries. We then design tailor-made infrastructure and solutions to enable the sustainable and local transformation of raw materials. In Gabon, where 85% of the land is covered by dense and pristine rainforest, we created from scratch a vibrant local timber industry. It did not happen overnight. We brought together local timber industry players and attracted foreign investors to create a competitive timber processing ecosystem. For this ecosystem to flourish, we attracted foreign investors, establishing linkages across the whole value chain, organizing trade shows for hosted companies to showcase and market their timber products, and boosting exports. GSE's wood cluster is now composed of 90 companies operating from the first to the third transformation of timber. All of them transforming ethically and sustainably sourced Gabonese wood. In less than 10 years, Gabon shifted from a net log exporter to the first exporter of veneer in Africa and second in the world. In fact, the real impact was much wider and more meaningful. With GSES, Arise IIP has created 16,000 jobs, attracted 120 investors coming from 18 different countries, operating in 19 industry sectors. In Togo, Benin and Côte d'Ivoire, our work is underway following the same approach. Cotton, cashew, soya, cocoa. We enable the transformation of local agricultural products with modern infrastructures and integrated logistics services. By investing in local manufacturing, we ultimately seek to replace foreign imports with domestic production. In all our endeavors, we are driven by the pursuit of green, sustainable growth, one that can last for generations to come. We are the pioneer of a green, responsible industrialization, one that ensures gender diversity, sustainability, traceability, and a zero waste policy. This is why we create innovative solutions that support a climate-conscious economic development in Africa. This starts with neutralizing carbon emissions and creating a positive environmental legacy. By 2022, all of Arise IIP's industrial zones will be carbon neutral, powered fully by solar technology. This is all made possible by the dedication and commitment of the women and men who work at Arise. Together, we are on a journey to build an African industry, a journey to create a better, more resilient, sustainable and inclusive future for everyone. Arise IIP, committed to making Africa thrive.
Thank you. PowerPoint, please. Yes. So Arise is an industrial ecosystem builder. What we do is we create the enabling infrastructure for investors to come in and set up an industry. Here I would like to thank Mr. Bande from Mozambique, who in the last, this previous session appreciated our Benin model. And we have already executed that successfully in Gabon, where 10,000 people come to work every day. And there we have put an infrastructure which processes 1.5 million cubic meter of timber every year. And that has been achieved in a time frame of 7 years. In Togo, we are trying to, process 100% of Togolese soybean within Togo itself. In Benin, the president gave us a target to process full Benin cashew by 2024. By 2023, complete infrastructure would be in place, including the factories, and we expect to process about 70,000. Our industries expect to process about 70,000 metric ton within the zone itself, and by 2024, we'll be processing, along with the industries outside, total about 150,000 metric ton, making the ban successful. So we have seen that, everybody has numbers, but more or less everybody talk in the same range. What we are saying is that if you look at the production which is there of RCN from Africa, currently it is about 65% of the world cashews RCN is coming from Africa. We see that with time the volume will increase, but the process, I believe, along with some of my experts, that the volume will actually come down because the Cambodia volume is increasing. So overall volume will increase, but and that is why the African share will reduce, though compared to today's terms, it will definitely increase. Whereas on the processing side, we believe what is there absent, almost absent today, Africa would be touching about 40 to 50% of processing as far as cashew is concerned. This is basis what Arise is doing in the African countries. Benin we have targeted, we are working with Guinea-Bissau. We expect to start something in Ivory Coast as well in the cashew sector. As Arise, I will say in total of West Africa itself, we aim to put enabling infrastructure where our processors can come and process close to about 1 million metric tons by 2028. That's the infrastructure that we will create will make it possible to happen. So why the processing is becoming more important, because if you see on the left, in the last 10 years, you see we have mapped the countries which have banned one or more agro commodities from being exported, like Benin is banning export of raw cashew nut from 2024. This is because first, there's youth which is unemployed. Okay, it needs job. Second, earlier the industrial ecosystem was missing and it was difficult to process. But players like Arise, we are present in 10 countries and we are one by one creating the industrial ecosystem, which makes it easier for people to go from here and process. And what pushes us further, if you look at the carbon footprint, today if you take 4 containers of cashew, it will give you 1 container of finished product, about 22% to 25%. Okay, it means if you take 4 cashews from Cote d'Ivoire to Vietnam, which is 20,000 kilometer, it is 4 into 20 is 80,000 kilometer. And you get 1 container of finished product which goes to Europe, which is again 20,000 kilometer. So it is a total distance is about 100,000 kilometers. Versus if you process it in Benin itself, then you have to just ship the finished product to 7,000 kilometers to Europe. So it means your carbon footprint is 1/15th to 1/20th. And when Europe is going to put carbon tax, it is beyond the custom duty. Custom duty waiver, some countries have EU treaty, they have, but they'll not have the carbon, they'll not be able to escape the carbon tax. So in times to come, this will also come into agro commodities, where we'll have a clear advantage on the other processing hubs. And that is why today, we are preparing in advance. Our spatial economic zone is already carbon neutral. Our zone in Benin will be neutral, carbon neutral. Togo will be carbon neutral. And when we start in, Cote d'Ivoire and Guinea-Bissau, there again will be carbon neutral. That will give a clear advantage to the processors. So we have already done, we have hired a company called Cibola Partners. We have taken a stake in a company called Area, which are into carbon trading and carbon consultancy. They're guiding us on how this has to be done so that our investors benefit. And there's a clear advantage in terms of the savings that will have to our industries if they do carbon trading, or if the carbon taxes brought into picture in US and Europe. Further, the pressure is from the Supply Chain Act. From 1st January 2023, the Supply Chain Act from German Supply Chain Act is active, which talks about that the onus of anything wrong in the supply chain lies on the ultimate buyer. So if you look at Cashew, anywhere between 10 to 15 hands, exchange of hand is there in the entire, from the farmer to the processing to the export, which means something goes wrong anywhere which is beyond the control of the buyer, he's held accountable. Initially, probably, what I read is about 2.5% of the turnover tax would be, would be the penalty. And second, there's a higher penalty, and third, it can lead to jail. So given this, we are being approached by a lot of people who say that why can't we, have a system whereby we are getting the finished product in US and Europe itself. So here comes Arise into picture, where we are saying the zone is procuring from the farmers, the processing is happening in the zone, the export is by the zone, so that there's only one person who's maintaining the complete transparency or traceability in the supply chain. And what we are doing, we have got a digital, we have come up with a digital software where we are working with the farmers. We have, where we are capturing 200,000 farmers in Benin and 100,000 farmers in Togo. And we are going to make a complete inventory of how the movement is there right from the farm to the processing, to the factory. Then we are working on a lot of other things like creating model farms. We are, more important here is, we are trying to increase the yield per hectare for the farmers, and also trying to increase the revenue from the same farm by encouraging them to put ginger or turmeric, these kind of species which can go along with the cashew. We have tied up with FINAPAV. FINAPAV is the association of the farmers, cashew farmers. And further, we have created close to about, we have about 2,500 model farms in Benin, through which we are teaching the farmers how to follow the best practices. Further, we are close to about 30 collection centers where we will be directly connecting through FINAPAV the raw material and ensuring the complete traceability, and bring it to the zone where 100,000 metric ton would be processed by 2023. This is a zone. This is a little bit old picture. So these are the 5 factories, each with a capacity to process about 30,000 metric tons. Then we have warehousing facilities. These total is about 150,000 square meters or 1.5 million square feet of warehousing that we have created, where complete Benin's raw material can be stored. We have the ancillaries like carton box factory, the PP bags, the jute bag factory, the packaging tape. All the factories are under construction. So this is the architect's view, which was about 1.5 years back, and this is the reality today. So we achieved this, where we are saying the processing units, the ancillary units, warehousing, then the drying area with each warehousing, and the ancillaries like CNSL plant is under construction, the truck parking is there, the container yard is there, the jute bag factory, biochar, all these industries are there. So there's some of the pictures, seeing is believing. to show you that we have the infrastructure in terms of water treatment plant ready. The power plant is we are putting up a solar power plant. The government has already, tendered the gas-based power plant. We are putting also the main receiving substation, the treatment plant, different kinds of treatment plants are there. We have the fire station within the zone. We have police station inside the zone. We have 60 closed circuit television TVs monitoring the whole zone, and the zone has 3-meter bonded wall. So then we have this, you see it at the bottom of the building where 30 government offices are going to work from this building itself. Your file once goes in will be approved or rejected. Okay, you don't have to run to different, different government offices. All when you're doing processing of Cashew, right from your all approvals, so industry approvals to export approvals, everything happens within this building. Then we have the commercial complex where we are talking to different suppliers like Vietmold or Tanfad or CMV or Nanopix. So they all will be setting up their offices for spares because the volume or the consumption we would be high here. Then these are the Cashew factory. You see the plastic bag manufacturing from Spain, the corrugated factory. All these factories, we believe they're at a stage where the machine installation is happening. So we should be by May, all the plants, including the ancillaries, would be ready and operational. So these are the warehousing. I've showed that already. These are the processing plants where the state of the best machine possible in the market has been put. So the government is supporting here. 50% of the financing is done by the government. So government is also paying the processor. The 1 year salary of the workers would be paid by the government. 50% of the salary would be paid by the government. So there are some of the incentives that government is giving to enable processing within the country. These pictures are old. These are 3 to 4 months old. The infrastructure is a different state now. So these are other factories which are there. The best of the machines have been put. You see the drying is happening already. This is the complete drying area is concrete. So you see in the center there's a warehousing in the drying area. Government is financing the creation of the drying units. Then further the training. We are, government, like I said, is supporting on the farmers, on the workers training. We came up with an advertisement where we received 50,000 applications. We have shortlisted 25,000 people and we are training them and looking at what is their hand-eye coordination, looking at their dexterity, looking at their intelligence IQ, testing that and grading them, which would be easy for a processor to come. He knows this caliber where this person will go. So this way we are creating an inventory of youth which is residing in nearby areas. So it is just, you can just come, set up your machine and start. All balance ecosystem has been created by us. So that is ARISE model and that is Benin model, and thank you for this, and we believe that 2024 the ban which has been put by the Benin government will be effective. Couple of more governments we are talking to, they also want to follow the ban model of Benin, and we are hopeful that probably a major country will put a ban by 2025 and another by 2026. So that means it will enable or push and pull factor. It would push industrialization or the processing of cashew within Africa. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Jasveer Singh. And yet again, for our francophone guest, it's time for Mr. Emmanuel to quickly sum up this very illuminating presentation.
D'accord. Alors, monsieur a fait une présentation sur sa compagnie ARISE, qui construit un écosystème industriel permettant aux entreprises de venir s'installer et transformer les produits. Au Gabon, par exemple, en 7 ans, ARISE a permis la transformation de l'industrie de bois. En 7 ans, le Gabon est devenu un pays exportateur de produits finis de bois. Et au Gabon, il y a la zone G10. La zone G10 qui est environ 150 000 mètres carrés d'entrepôts, de transformation de l'anacarde. Et cette zone est faite en collaboration avec le gouvernement béninois qui finance 50% du financement là-bas. Alors, dans cette zone, il y a des entrepôts, il y a un centre de traitement de CNSL, un centre de production de sacs de jute, un centre de production de différents produits. Alors, ça sera comme il y a un bureau où il y a des bureaux gouvernementaux. Vous n'avez pas besoin de partir faire vos papiers ailleurs. Vous pouvez rester là et faire tous les papiers. C'est ce qu'on appelle un centre unique, un guichet unique. Alors, et cette zone-là, disons Horizon, tente aller dans plusieurs pays, la Guinée-Bissau et aussi la Côte d'Ivoire. En fait, c'est la création, c'est la concentration du développement industriel de différents produits. Au Togo, par exemple, c'est aujourd'hui 100% de la du soja qui est transformé grâce à Arise et son intervention. Donc c'est la création vraiment d'un écosystème industriel pour permettre le développement de différents produits. Arise veut s'étendre dans différents pays. Et G10 au Bénin est vraiment l'exemple. Les travailleurs, par exemple, lorsque vous installez là-bas, les travailleurs sont sélectionnés. Ils sont sélectionnés selon leur acuité visuelle, leur dextérité et même leur QI. C'est-à-dire que vous avez des travailleurs. Alors, pour exemple, il y a eu 100 000 applications et il y a eu 54 000 travailleurs qui ont été retenus. Rise est là pour le développement industriel de l'Afrique de l'Ouest. Merci. En somme, c'est cela. Merci beaucoup.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel. And with this, I would like to yet again invite on stage Mr. Koulibaly. Please join us on the stage to present a memento to Mr. Jasveer Singh for his presentation. So, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise. A big thank you to Mr. Jasveer Singh for his presentation. Truly something you would be very, very interested in. A big industrial zone coming up, single window clearances. Please feel free to connect with Mr. Jasveer Singh later during the networking sessions as well.